Hello, welcome to another tonalist landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting I'm bringing you today is called Imagination Beach number 2, and that is because I've used that title before, and I will be using it again. I want to talk about this painting. Now, this would be a great one to check out in the members area because the reference images are always shared in the members area. Usually you can see on the screen in my studio. I'm trying to remember to put them up with the video, but I can't guarantee I can keep that up. Either way, you get a good sense of what my reference was. Well, this particular bit of reference I composited, and I did throw some AI at it and stuff, and it was looking real Frankenstein-y, real weird. And it wasn't the AI's fault. It was there was a lot of mixed up stuff, and I had a few moments in the studio the other day, and the way I have myself trained up is that if I'm not painting, then I start feeling really bad. Oh, let's take a second to talk about what we're painting on. It's a bit of MDF. It's hit with 2 coats of house paint, and the color I'm doing my underpainting / drawing with is burnt umber. It's augmented with some rose madder from Rembrandt, which is a very deep, rich red. So anyway, this reference, like the tree was going into that mass. There was rocks, there was grass, there was tree. It was all mixed together, and it was very difficult to make sense of. Now, maybe there's 2 strategies you've got with a reference photo like that, and one is just to painstakingly replicate what's there because it sort of made sense to you as a photo. You know, that was my early painting experience, and I did make paintings work. You can make paintings work that way. Unfortunately, they won't be awesome. They won't be that great. Not that necessarily you can really pull a great painting out of a mediocre bit of reference. That's not that easy to do either. But what you can do is make a good painting, and you can pull the elements from the reference that are resonating with you, and you can combine those. And this is the theme of this video. You can combine those with archetypal internal landscape motifs. Okay, so I have an archetype of a tree, several different archetypes of trees that are internal to me now because I painted so many, and even before I was painting trees, there was an archetypal tree, and this people don't realize that this is something that's a real thing. You know, it's in the imagination or the unconscious or wherever you want to call it. One of the reasons why I called this Imagination Beach. Okay, so a lot of times as students, like when I'm teaching them to draw the figure or faces, I say, well, you want to learn a formula sort of nose or formula sort of eyes, so that when you're looking at something that's not clear, you can fall back on the formula. And it's the same thing with, say, drawing the figure. You can break it into cones and rectangles and globes and foreshorten things and make things look awesome. So there's a lot of different ways to go, but in this case I was relying really, really heavily on the archetypal thing. And the other brief I gave myself, and this is a big tip for you. You may not think there's a lot of tips in this video, but you'd be wrong, because this is something we all wrangle with, is having reference that isn't measuring up. There was something in it that we thought, oh, I can make a painting out of this, and a lot of times you sit down with it at Diesel and you go, I don't know, man. Is it me? Is it the reference? It's usually the reference, okay? This is how you take that sort of thing on, right? You fall back on the archetypes and you start designing. And oh, hey, whoa, it's the book. And I do talk about this in the book pretty extensively. We sent out quite a few books recently, and it's so gratifying for me. I really love shipping this book all over the world. Had a chance to review it myself recently, and I think it's solid. $60 US. Wherever you are, I will get it to you. It will be signed and numbered, and it's only available as a physical book, so check it out. Anyway, oh yeah, and I talk about in the book, I talk about design, and every painter out there will talk to you about design. If your reference is really solid, then your design job is a lot easier because you have good shapes and good areas, and that's always my goal. I'm always working with the reference to get it as good as I can. In this reference, one of the reasons I think it works pretty well is because I'm always, a lot of times you see me do this ocean and tree thing a bunch of times, but I don't always put those distant hills or peninsula in. It was absolutely essential to balancing this piece. And the leaning tree, that's archetypal to me. It wasn't really like that in the reference. And again, you can check that out in the members area. Now, this is the other thing, part of the brief. Since I was thinking, I'm just going to paint this. It's okay. I don't have high hopes of making a good painting from this particular reference image I set up. But so I'm going to do it pretty quick. I'm not going to sweat it. So that you see me painting the sky, and I'm actually real happy with the way the sky turned out. It was painted quite quickly, and I'm always painting at a good pace. But this was, I just decided to leave things, and more, I think that's a solid practice. If you can paint it and leave it and not mess with it, that's great. Now, that said, if it's not right, you get in there and fix it, mess with it. But you'd be surprised if you decide to throw yourself or have a painting like I did. This one's like, okay, whatever. I don't think this is going to work out so well, but I'm going to just make a painting right now. I need to make a painting. I have this board. I have this reference, and I have a goal of doing this in a relatively quick amount of time. And the reason I said that there was also like a lot of complex rocks, all of these rocks where you see me painting dark paint, I'm starting to put in dark there, that I could have got lost in that. And I have paintings, and they're on the channel where I've worked these things out. Here I'm just going, here's some patterns. I'm just going to go in with some more pattern on top of that pattern, and I ended up being very happy with the way the rocks are. They're not the greatest rocks ever painted, but they're solid. They're not distracting, and they could have been a place where I stumbled and fell. Now, one of the decisions I made, and it's not at all present in the references, and you're going to see me painting it, is I decided to just make that grass in between the rocks and the trees. In the reference, there's maybe a bit of weeds and things, but now this is something I've seen a lot out here, and it's another archetype. I've painted paintings like that. I've been to locations like that. I've sat on these grassy spots under these trees and had lunch, so that wasn't difficult. My brief too was to there were some areas where maybe I had lots of information in the reference I could have pulled on and maybe used to augment the painting. But because I had to go very simple with a lot of the design decisions, like the tree itself, the way I approached the sky, that meant that I had to keep everything else simple as well. And I have to tell you that that's really where I'm trying to head more and more. It's much more difficult, though, I will say, to create a painting with just pleasing, simple shapes that have good modulations of color, and to leave it alone. The third aspect, of course, would be texture, right? You bring in some texture and stuff, and that's always great too. Big shapes with the modulation and color and some texture, but it's of course it's not just that, because you have to have how does the color, everything in a painting relates to everything else in a painting. So one of the main things that I'm always passing on, if you're in the members area, you'd hear me talking about it, is like, okay, I've got greens in the tree, but I always want to try and find a way to make the green in the grass different. And usually one of my big tricks for that is having permanent green light on my palette, because I hesitate to use that in the trees, but I can put that into the grass and mess with that. and it gives me a whole different sort of feel in the grass. So that's a big tip for you, free of charge from Uncle Mike. And I don't know, this video I had some time, so I'm going to be rolling out middle of the week this Yosemite video I just put together, and the 15-minute one it's taken off like a house on fire. I don't really know why. Maybe it's just I think it's got to be subject matter. It's all good. I do this, I do that, and sometimes it's more popular and other times not. But I'm always trying to share what I do, authentically, pass along some tips, and garner some support if I can. And people buying the book is great. I'm going to be reactivating the store on my site somewhat. But that's the best way to support me. If you think, gosh, that Mike, what a great guy. He's a real giver, that Mike. What could I do for him? Oh, I'd go buy one of my paintings. That would thrill me. Yeah. Will this be? I'll make a point of putting this up on the site. It's not going to be. The galleries right now are pretty quiet. It's just first day of winter a few days ago, so a lot of people coming over here right now. But maybe they will. If it's not going to be. If World War III is not too bad. This is a painting channel. We'll keep it strictly to painting. But so at this point in the painting process, I'm starting to get excited. I'm saying, hey, you know what? This is working. Now, how can I keep from messing this up? And this reminds me, I have been looking at a few painting type videos on the YouTube. A lot of it for gouache and stuff, but a few oil painting ones. And one guy was talking about one of his teachers, and he said that his teacher, every painting before he started, he would say, this is going to be the greatest, like I could have said, this is going to be the greatest imagination beach painting ever painted by anyone. And then as the painting progressed, I was saying, babe, this is going to be the best imagination beach painting that I've ever painted. And then maybe past the halfway point, you'd be like, how can I save this? It's so funny. Painting, what a blast, eh? I could have done more in the water. I'll be honest with you. I ended up trying a bunch of different things, and nothing was quite resonating. At this point, I felt, well, yeah, and it's a place where it's the right color, and I think the real critical bit was the waves. Now, I'll give you another tip, since you've been good enough to stick with me through these 12 minutes of me burbling here. Notice that transition area between the sand and the water. I started in, I actually brought in some purples. Purples get on with the aqua great. That's good old dioxide. And I'm talking about how I'm doing those waves in a sec, but those waves are going over the top of a wash done with raw umber. Raw umber is the secret color, and I didn't learn that anywhere, and that's one of the things. I may end up writing that book on painting seascapes one day. I'm trying to look after my health, and I hope to live to be, quite old, so that'd be awesome, Heck, if I could live another 40 years, I'd really learn how to paint, And trust me, I'll pass a bunch of it on to you. So let's talk about the waves. We got a minute. This is, the waves feel like they have a lot more detail. The fact is, it's really faux detail. That wasn't in the reference at all. The waves in the reference were just some little gauzy lines coming up onto the beach, and I'm still trying to get better painting those. I'm actually pretty happy with the way I got that effect over that raw umber. But this is what I do. I'll just tell you straight up. Because no secrets being kept from you here. Okay, so you paint. You saw I had the raw umber in there, and I had some purpley and some bluey and aqua-y, and I met them up, and then I start doing the waves over the top. Well, first of all, I have a brush that's a light color brush. I don't try and do it with the same blue brush or aqua brush. Sometimes maybe if the aqua's quite light, I can pull it off. But you get a lot of oil into that. You have and of course the white is not a bright white. You want to go in with a pass that's a bit more cream, and not much different from what I do in the sky. Then a lot of times, like here, you see me bring in a bit more white, a little less oil, But that immense amount of oil there, I tend not to, and I always advise people students, and you don't use too much oil, but you got to use the oil. And there's times when like the oil is magical, and that is one of those places. Anyway, thanks for checking out this video. Give me a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave me a comment. I really appreciate that. Even just, hey, nice painting, Mike. And until I come back with another video for your edification, hopefully for your edification and enjoyment, do me a favor, do me a solid, take good care of yourself, your family, all your loved ones. Stay out of trouble. God bless you and your family, and fight the power.